Until the beginning of the month, it seemed like Lebanon, beleaguered by a series of crises and wars, might be back on a positive trajectory. Large-scale fighting between Israel and Iran-backed Hezbollah officially ended with the November 2024 ceasefire. In January 2025, after years of political deadlock, the Lebanese parliament elected a new president, filling a more than 2-year vacancy, and a fully fledged government was finally formed. Some progress, albeit slow, was also made in disarming Hezbollah, with the Lebanese army announcing in January 2026 that it had taken over security in southern Lebanon. Tourism was on the up again, as was consumer sentiment, both encouraging signs of optimism. Tragically, however, war has returned to Lebanon this month, as Hezbollah's firing at Israel following the assassination of Iran's supreme leader has been met with an intensifying Israeli offensive. So in this video, we're going to explain the new war in Lebanon and the possibility of an Israeli ground invasion. President Erdogan was ranked 19th in our list of the world's most influential people. So in the latest issue of our magazine, Too Long, we discuss how his various foreign policy gambles apparently paid off, and how he's been able to consolidate power within Turkey over the past year or so. That's just one of the 72 pages in the magazine, because as always, there's more to Too Long than you'd expect. Purchase your copy by clicking the link in the description. The 13-month Israel-Hezbollah war that nominally ended with the November 2024 ceasefire was hugely damaging for Lebanon as a whole, and left Hezbollah significantly bloodied, with much of its top leadership killed. Under the ceasefire, Hezbollah was meant to withdraw to north of the Litani River, and Israeli troops were meant to withdraw from southern Lebanon. However, while large-scale fighting ended, Israel continued to strike Lebanon some 855 times since the ceasefire, and held on to several hilltops just across the border in Lebanon, accusing the Lebanese army of failing to disarm Hezbollah fast enough. The Lebanese army gradually managed to extend its control over southern Lebanon, but disarming Hezbollah in the wider country proved difficult, as Hezbollah rebuffed the efforts, saying that it would not agree to a full disarmament while Israeli strikes continued, and the Lebanese army was hesitant to push things too fast in fear of sparking sectarian strife. However, everything changed with the outbreak of the war in Iran in late February. The US-Israeli attack on Iran naturally drew condemnation from Hezbollah, but it was after Israeli strikes killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei that Hezbollah opened a new front in the war, by firing missiles into Israel on March 1st, vowing not to leave the field of honor and resistance. This has sparked an almighty Israeli military response across Lebanon, seeing it as a chance to finish the job of destroying Hezbollah, but plunging the troubled country back into war. The Lebanese government said on Thursday that the death toll from Israeli strikes since March 2nd had reached 687. Israeli troops have reportedly seized additional positions across the border in southern Lebanon, and waves of Israeli airstrikes have focused on southern Lebanon, eastern Lebanon, and the southern suburbs of Beirut, which are largely Shia areas and the heartlands of Hezbollah. In eastern Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, an Israeli air raid and special forces operation last week killed 41 people, as Israeli troops clashed with Hezbollah and local fighters in an unsuccessful attempt to locate and bring back the remains of an Israeli Air Force officer who went missing in Lebanon 40 years ago. The Israeli bombardment of Beirut has been intensifying too, particularly in the southern suburbs, where Israel has issued a sweeping evacuation order covering hundreds of thousands of people. There have also been several strikes in central Beirut too. For example, an Israeli airstrike early on Thursday morning hit Beirut's seafront promenade, where many displaced people had set up tents and shelters. The strike, reportedly targeting a car, killed at least 8 people, according to Lebanese authorities. Meanwhile, since March 2nd, Hezbollah has been launching attacks at Israel every day, with no recorded fatalities in Israel, although 2 Israeli soldiers were killed in a Hezbollah attack in southern Lebanon. Wednesday night into Thursday morning marked the most significant exchange of fire so far, with UN peacekeepers detecting more than 120 projectiles fired from Lebanon towards Israel, as well as 7 Israeli air attacks and over 120 incidents of artillery fire in response. For the first time in this renewed conflict, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says that it and Hezbollah had carried out a coordinated missile and drone attack on Israel on Wednesday night. Hezbollah has sought to frame this war with Israel not as a war on behalf of or in solidarity with Iran, but rather one of existential defense for Lebanon that comes on the back of continued Israeli strikes during the ceasefire. However, this is not how many Lebanese people feel. Instead, they see Hezbollah's decision to fire upon Israel as simply providing Israel with an excuse to properly reignite the conflict and drag Lebanon back into a state of war. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun gave particularly blunt criticism, saying Hezbollah was an armed faction that gave no weight to Lebanon's interests or the lives of its people, and which wanted the collapse of the Lebanese state under aggression and chaos for the Iranian regime's sake. The Lebanese government announced a ban on Hezbollah's military activities, which, while hard to enforce, is the state's most aggressive move yet, and this ban was notably supported by the Amal movement, a fellow Shia group that has been Hezbollah's main political ally. This suggests, and various reports affirm, that there is division within Lebanon's Shia community, which has always been Hezbollah's support base, over its recent actions. So, in what direction are things headed now? Well, for a number of reasons, concerns are mounting that Israel is preparing to launch a ground invasion of Lebanon. Firstly, with the outbreak of hostilities, Israel issued a blanket evacuation order for southern Lebanon, south of the Litani River, but on Thursday significantly expanded this order, taking it up to the Zerani River. Israel has long sought a Hezbollah-free, disarmed southern Lebanon that it sees as an essential buffer to guarantee the security of Israel's northern population, tens of thousands of whom were evacuated during the post-October 7th war. Another potential indicator of a forthcoming invasion of the south, beyond the existing Israeli-held positions, is that the Israeli military has redeployed the Golani Infantry Brigade from the Israeli south to the northern border, as fighting with Hezbollah intensifies. Reuters reports that Hezbollah is bracing for a possible full-scale Israeli invasion, and the FT reports that Israel expects its campaign against Hezbollah to continue beyond the end of the war with Iran. Whether or not Israel launches a large-scale or limited invasion, or continues with heavy aerial bombardments and in-and-out raids, the continuation of this conflict in any form is devastating for Lebanon and its people. Most of the world's focus is on Iran at the moment, and trying to bring an end to a war there, so comparatively less attention is being paid to Lebanon. However, France is leading the way and is trying to prevent an Israeli invasion and revive the ceasefire, ramping up diplomatic, humanitarian and military support for the Lebanese government, which has been urging a ceasefire and direct talks with Israel. However, if Israel sees this as a prime opportunity to try and finish the job, and Hezbollah views it as a final existential battle against its old enemy, it's hard to see how efforts to bring the sides together and strike a temporary, let alone long-term peace, can be successful anytime soon. Now, if you're one to binge watch our videos, or in fact any news recently, it's very understandable that you might feel as though the world isn't super safe right now. You're probably doing all you can to at least feel in control of your online security. You're adding an extra 1 or capital letter to your passwords. But is that always enough? Well, luckily our sponsor this week, NordVPN, takes your safety seriously and expertly works to protect all of your data online. It's an unfortunate reality that online scams and phishing attacks are on the rise right now. With us getting bombarded with emails from our banks, social media accounts, and constant newsletters we forgot we even signed up to, it's easier than ever to click the wrong thing. But with NordVPN's certified anti-phishing tool, you don't need to worry about your online safety being compromised, as their Threat Protection Pro feature detects at least 85% of phishing websites, blocking millions of scams every single month. Even if one slipped through and you did reach a suspicious website, NordVPN's data encryption tools will protect against a number of other attacks, like malicious man-in-the-middle data breaches and intense DDoS attacks. And don't worry, if you're concerned about past sensitive information being compromised, NordVPN's dark web monitoring is always scanning for your details and passwords, and can actively notify you before you even notice. Their super handy NordPass feature will even upgrade those old passwords for you, and keep them all organized and safe in one place. NordVPN isn't just the fastest VPN on the planet, it's a much needed shield to protect you from all of the threats that exist online. So if cybersecurity is as important to you as it is to us, sign up to NordVPN today. Simply click the link in the description or go to nordvpn.com/TLDR, and not only will you get a massive discount, but you'll also get 4 extra months totally free. There's no better time to protect yourself, so once again, that's nordvpn.com/TLDR, and it's completely risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee.